Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the All We Do Is Talk podcast. We're here with an MLB edition, over, unders, and division winners today. I'm here with Isaiah. What's up, man?
What's good, Eric? How you doing? Let's
Good.
get it. I mean, season we're a little late, but better late than never.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of season to be had, so we're good. All right, so let's get it started in the NL East. We're gonna start with the reigning World Series champions, the Atlanta Braves. Their win total prediction is at 89. What do you have for this over under?
Atlanta Braves 89. Last year they won 88. I think their team is just as good, if not probably better, because of the Acuna return somewhere probably midseason, and then the Azuna return probably somewhere around midseason. So I mean, I guess I'll use a little championship bump to say I'll take the over, but I don't know if they're going to be way over. I don't know if they're a dominant team, but they're a pretty good team.
Yeah, I agree with the over. I think believe it or not, I think Matt Olson is an upgrade from Freddie Freeman. Uh, just a little bit younger. They signed him to an extension, so that's a really good pickup for them. I like how they were proactive. They didn't wait for Freddie to make his decision. Once they figured he's not going to come back, let's go replace him with another elite first baseman. Um, Also, Kenley Jansen coming there is also huge. Helps solidify that already dominant bullpen. I think this is going to be the team to beat in this division. But this division is very tough. A lot of teams made upgrades in this division. So we both go over 89. So we both think they're going to win 90 games. Let's keep it moving. New York Mets. I'll start. I think the Mets are going to Mets. So I'm going to take the under 87 here. Jacob DeGrom is already out for an indefinite period of time. Max Scherzer is going to be elite, but he is elite no matter where he goes. So he's going to do his thing. But I mean, they didn't really upgrade much offensively for this team. I mean, it's pretty much the same. Their one big jump was Sterling Marte. I mean, he's on the northern side of 30. So I mean, they signed nothing but older guys. I mean, they're not really a young team. Um, I'm going to go under 87. I think they're a third place team in this division.
The Mets. I mean, it's hard because if the Grom was fully healthy and Scherzer was coming into the season healthy, I'd be higher on them. But for them to both be hurt is really scary, and they're known to underachieve. Who's their new manager again for this season?
Walter.
Filter. He's a good guy. He's a good manager. I mean, he brings an old school methodology to his manager style. But I mean, I would like this team if I knew that Degrom would play a full healthy season. But after him coming in hurt, I just don't think that he'll get healthy this year probably, and they'll probably have to scrap another year where they probably could have been good. Uh, what was the number for the over under?
87.
I'll take the under barely and say that they probably have like a 500 season.
Yeah,
Everybody comes back this season and they
yeah,
get
I
healthy.
agree. I think this team they built for the playoffs, but you got to get to the playoffs but first because if they have DeGrom and Scherzer and who's their third? It's like they got the pitcher they traded from the Oakland A's. I'll look up his name here in a second. I mean, that's one of the more lethal 1, 2, 3 punches. And if they get into the playoffs, they're probably one of the most dangerous teams if their rotation is healthy. But I mean, that's the name of the game in baseball, staying healthy through 162 plus, which DeGrom has not shown in a couple years that he can stay healthy throughout the whole year. So, and with him being out indefinitely, they don't really have an exact timetable for him. It's tough to pick over 87 for sure. All right. Philadelphia Phillies. I think this is one of the more exciting teams this year in the National League. Picking up Kyle Schwarber, I think, is huge for them. Nick Castellanos. I mean, their 1 through 6 in their lineup can go up with, I think, anybody in baseball. Um, Going from there, their 7 through 9 is a little questionable, but their top 6, man, is elite. Um, their over-under is 86.5. The one question I have is the back end of that rotation. They have Aaron Nola, they have Zach Wheeler, who are really good starting pitchers, but that back half is,
Suarez and Gibson.
yeah, I mean they're gonna have a good year. I'm gonna go over 86.5. I think they're the second or first best team in this division. I'm gonna go over, and I think it's pretty easy over.
87 and a half.
86 and
I
a half.
agree with your I agree with your over because they were really good in the second half of the season. Bryce Harper could have been MVP caliber.
He
Probably
wasn't.
could have won the award if huh?
He was the MVP.
Bryce Harper won it? He did?
Yeah.
Yeah. He turned it on to the back end of the season. And I really like what I saw from him. Like you said, Castellanos and Schwarber. I'm interested to see which one will DH, which one will play in the field, if it'll be 50-50, if it'll be DH for Schwarber. Because right now they have Castillo. I think that's been their DH for the first couple games. But I'm interested to see how they work that out. Lineup's a little weak, but I think the lineups, the pitching rotation that they will face will not be as bad in that division as long as the Mets are banged up as they are, like we said previously, in pitching. So I mean, it'll be interesting to see how they take advantage. I don't think this division's too amazing, but I think the Phillies, I agree with you, are probably the second best team, and I think they have a good chance to be a sneaky World Series contender. Not like a favorite, but I wouldn't be surprised if they went on like a run if they added the right guys around the trade deadline to fill in wherever they had holes. But I agree with your over.
Yeah, I think Castellanos and Schwarber they'll be splitting up the DH and who fills that corner, who fills left field. All right, let's keep moving to the Miami Marlins. A young team that has a lot of potential, but I think this team is a year or two away from being a true competitor in this division. They're over under 77.5. I think I'm going to go under 77, but this team's going to fight. I mean, it's definitely not going to be a rollover Miami Marlins team. But I still think with the top three in this division, these next two teams are going to get beat up pretty bad.
Yeah, I guess that's like I think I'll just go ahead and say I'll probably take the under for both teams that we've got coming up. I think the Nationals are better than the Marlins, but I think the Marlins have a brighter future, is how I'd say that for both these teams. But I think both will be rounding up the cellar. Interested to see how great Juan Soto can be for the Nationals. I know we're not up to them yet, but that I think he'll be the X factor that determines if the Nationals have any chance to even be better than the Marlins. But I think the Marlins have a good young team, and they've got some prospects coming up that'll brighten their future. But tough year ahead of them probably.
Yeah, I mean, I'll knock out the Nationals as well. They're over under 70.5. I'm going to take the under. If you're going to Nationals games, you're going to watch Juan Soto and nothing else. That guy it's going to be a question on his future. I mean, he's already turned down $350 million from them. So it would be really sad if the Nationals lose two generational type talents in right field in a span of 5-6 years. It would be really, really unfortunate for them. But God,
Do you think he wants to be there?
I mean, that's the $1 million question. I mean, if he stays there, he wants the bag. I mean, it's tough. They got to see what they do for him. I think Nelson Cruz is one of those pieces that they're going to trade at the deadline. I mean, they only have him for 1 year, so he's going to be that perfect protect Juan Soto until June, July, and then trade him for prospects to build towards next year. But yeah, 70.5. I think they go under, and they're still riding high from their championship. So they got Soto's got his ring. I'm sure he's chilling, still wants to compete, but this year is definitely probably going to be a rough year for the Nats.
Speaking of, since you brought up Nelson Cruz, do you think Corbin and Strasburg will also be guys that are possible trade candidates?
I don't think I don't think Strasburg is. I mean, people will always be looking for bullpen help. So if you get the right package for Doolittle, I would do it absolutely. But I think Nelson Cruz is the 100% he is going to be traded. Um, but yeah, I think Strasburg stays as a Nat. I don't think they can. I don't think they'll trade him. But Corbin, possibly. I think they would need to get a lot in return for him, which I don't think anyone would be willing to trade like top prospects for him.
Yeah. Okay, I feel that. Any young guys that you're especially excited for the Marlins or Nationals before we wrap up this division?
Josiah Gray from the Nats. They got him from the Max Scherzer Trey Turner trade. He is electric on the rotation.
Okay. So are we in agreement that this is Atlanta's division to lose? Is that the favorite that we both gonna go with?
I think I'm gonna go Phillies, man. I think the Braves definitely get into the playoffs for sure. I just think the Phillies are gonna be more hungry. I think their 1 through 6 is a little bit deeper than the Braves. I think Nick Castellanos was a good pickup, but I think the Schwarber pick just set them over for me personally. So I'm gonna go Phillies to win the division. And Braves will probably definitely fill out a wild card for me.
Okay, I'll rock with the Braves to win, but I think that the Mets have a healthy Mets team has a better chance of being the team that could upset the Braves in my opinion over the Phillies. I just like the pitching of Scherzer and DeGrom if they were both healthy, and that'd be a good asset for chasing the playoffs. Definitely to have two guys that could get the job done when they're called upon at that level.
Yeah.
But all right.
Yeah. So let's move on to the National League Central. The Brewers are the reigning divisional champ. I mean, they walked away with this one. I think they won the division in like mid-July. Like the gap was spread early. Their over under is 90.
Uh, I mean, I heard that a lot of people are questioning how good Yelich and how much production they could get out of him. I think he's going to be the determining factor on if they are a good division winner or if they are a World Series caliber team. I do like the over because we all know that this is probably the best pitching staff in the league. They're going to win games with pitching. The division's good, but really isn't. I like the Cardinals lineup. The Reds are always pesty. Chicago, they brought in some guys to try to get back into things, but I just think that Milwaukee's got the best pitching. I like their lineup headlined with Yelich, the closer Hader. He was back to having a great season last year, so they got good guys in the bullpen led by Hader. So I think I'll take the over from Milwaukee, and I'll say right off the bat that I think it's safe to say that like if I was to pick a division winner, this is the one that I feel the most confident with, unless they were to get assaulted by injuries, I guess.
Um, we feel differently. I'm a fan of the Brewers. The team we're going to talk about next is probably going to be my division winner. So I'm going to take the under 90. I mean, Christian Yelich, I mean, it really is predicated on how he does this season, on how far the Brewers can go. They can be special if he gets back to his MVP form. And Corbin Burns and Woodford, like all those guys are dominant. But I also like the rotation a lot of the next team we're going to talk about. And they're the consistent winners of this division. But I'm going to take under 90. 90 is a lot of games, man. That is a lot of games. So I'm going to take the under on the
They
Brewers.
barely got over it last year.
Yeah, I think they're going to be more in the 85 to 87.
Okay. Christian Yelich is one of my favorite players. I think he'll bounce back. You got to stay healthy, of course, but he's one of the best left-handed hitters of this generation, probably. And hopefully they could get a great season out of him.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's keep it moving. The St. Louis Cardinals, 86. They had a crazy run to get into the playoffs and edge out the Padres last year. I think they won like 12 in a row at very late in the year to jump them to get into the wild card game. I love this team. Jack Flaherty, Adam Wainwright still ticking. I think this team is really, really good. Tyler O'Neill, Like all of those guys, Yachty is still a leader. And the addition of Albert Pujols, I mean, I don't think he's going to do a lot statistically, but I think he's the leader with Yachty that can lead this team to definitely win the division.
Yeah, I mean, bringing up the Pujols addition is actually really good because now that they have the universal DH, I'm sure he'll take some good at bats doing that. That's probably the best position for him. I don't know if we'll see him much at first base with Paul Goldschmidt lining up there, but even some rest days for Paul, that'd be good for Albert could fill in there. Nolan Arenado's Nolan Arenado. He should probably still be in Colorado, and I think did he opt it? Is this his opt year
For who again?
for Arenado? Was this one of his opt out years?
I think
Possibly.
so. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm sure he'll be trying to play big for a bigger contract, possibly. I mean, I think their lineup is missing a few pieces. I like their rotation better than I like their lineup, is what I will say.
Yeah.
What is their?
I think they have the best corner infield duo in the league. Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado, I think is the best first base, third base combo in the league.
I can see. Yeah, I mess with that. I like Tommy Edman in the middle of the infield. I'm interested to see if he could break out to be a bigger star than he is at the moment. What was their over under total?
86.
86. I mean, I'm gonna take the under because I like some of the other teams in the NL that they'll be competing for the wild card spot with. Since I think Milwaukee is better than them, I just don't know about this lineup. I don't know if this lineup is deadly as you need to be a consistent playoff team, but the pitching is good. So maybe the rotation can overcome the lineup. And they do have good veteran leaders who have been there, done that, and won before. So that's always something to think about. But I'll take the under.
Taking the under. Okay. So let's keep it moving. We'll go to Chicago with the Cubs over under 43.5. It was an interesting offseason for them. I mean, after the year of trading your core that won a championship, you would think they would be in a little bit of a rebuild mode. But they signed like 14 guys to their MLB roster. I mean, they did some things to compete now with the Japanese star. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name. Coming over, they signed Clint Frazier. They signed Marcus Stroman. They signed like half of their roster this offseason. And with the over under 73.5, I think I'm going to go over on that. I think the division, that they will beat each other up a lot. I think they're better than the Reds, who had a fire sale. They're better than the Pirates. So there's two teams that are going to be like the bottom sellers, I think, of the National League as a whole, that the top three teams will just beat up on.
Yeah. What's their number again?
73.5.
Yeah, I think I'll definitely take the over because the one thing that you mentioned is that the division's bottom is buried. So, I mean, I think they'll get lots of wins beating up on the Pirates, beating up on the Reds. I think the Reds can still be kind of sneaky because they usually know what they're doing when they readjust their rosters, but they kind of look like they're going towards a rebuild. So, I mean, I guess I got to take the over, and that makes me question if I should take the St. Louis over too. I think I'm actually going to switch and take the St. Louis over as well, and then by default take the under for both of the teams below. This is where I'm thinking of just looking at the lineups ahead that I've got them all pulled up here, and I do think that the Pirates and the Reds are pretty weak in this division. How you feel about that?
I agree. I mean, I think the Pirates are going to be. It's them and the Orioles that are the like bottom feeders of the league. I think Pirates are probably one of the more frustrating teams in the league. I mean, yeah, they're over under 64. God, I hate like
That's so low.
It's hard to like say like yes, a team's gonna have 100-loss season. But God, I gotta take it. I'm gonna go under on the Pirates. I just don't know what they're doing, and they've been ever since like the era of McCutchen winning an MVP. They've just been abysmal. And it seems like every guy they trade away is successful in other places. It's crazy. And the Reds, I'm going to take the under as well. I mean, they're at 73.5. I mean, they just had a fire sale for some reason. Because I think they had a really good core last year. And
They still got Moustakas, and they still
Votto.
got Joey Votto, another year older. Tommy Pham, that's actually a good corner infield player. But Jonathan India, the pitching is what catches my eyes. It's not very good pitching in my opinion. Mike Minor, he's hurt apparently. So I mean, yeah, I definitely hit the under for the Reds. That number for the Pirates is so low.
Yeah, it's tough.
So I mean, I just because of discrepancy in teams, I'm going to say that they're not going to beat up. They're not going to get many wins off the the upper echelon teams in the division. So I mean, I guess I got to take the under and say like you said, because like the Baltimore Orioles, they're in a bad division. That probably will make them even look worse than they actually are. I mean, they're in a good division, so the guys at the top of the division will beat them up and make them look worse.
Yeah. So I think I've made it pretty clear that the Cardinals are my division winner out of this out of the NL Central. So who do you got?
I'll say Christian Yelich bounces back, has a great year, and Milwaukee's pitching leads him to the division. I'll go with that. I'm fine with that. I can live with it.
All righty. All right. So let's move to the NL West. Let's go bottom up here. We'll start with the Arizona Diamondbacks over under 66. These first two teams we're going to talk about under because these top three teams are elite. So yeah, I'm going under on the Diamondbacks. I mean, when you have to play the Dodgers, the Giants, the Padres in your division and play them multiple times, it's going to be a rough season for the Diamondbacks, I think.
Oh yeah, they're definitely the bottom place team. The teams, I don't even know what they're really doing because a couple years ago they went out and kind of built the team like they were trying to win something, and then none of it really worked out. It's a bad team all around. It doesn't have much. Interesting to see if anybody will come calling for Madison Bumgarner or Ian Kennedy before the year's up. But I don't even see many. David Peralta, those guys might be tradable. I don't know about their contract situations, but this is a pretty bad team. What's their official number?
66.
That's so low.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
that's so bad. That's so low. I mean, take the under, but they're going to be the last place team is basically what we know for sure. How do you feel about? So, are you going to say that the Rockies are for sure going to be? You don't like the Rockies at all?
No, I'm very frustrated with the Rockies. How you just let Trevor Story walk, how you let John Gray just go, and you clearly are going for not a tank, but just a rebuild, and then you throw the bag at Chris Bryant. I don't understand. It's the Rockies and the A's that grind my gears because the Rockies, if you're just gonna let Trevor Story go, trade him and get something out of him. You got nothing out of him leaving. Your best player. You lock up Nolan Arenado and 2 years later trade him. You could have your infield, left side of the infield was Nolan Arenado, Trevor Story. That's a core that you go out and try to win with. And you traded one and you just let one walk out the door for nothing. That's just as bad as KD and OKC, I think. Obviously not the level of player, but it's just your best player leaves for nothing, which is just
tough. I mean,
insane.
I don't know why they brought in Chris Bryant, and according to their depth chart, apparently they've got him penciling as a left fielder.
Yeah,
in the corner. I think his best position is third baseman, so that makes it even more questionable how you're bringing in a guy to do something else.
Well, he played outfield with the Giants last year.
Yeah, but I just think his best position is third baseman. So if you're going to pay him that much money, maybe they'll move him there if they find a way to. Pitching's bad. Bullpen's meh. Lineup is not terrible. Chris Bryant, Charlie Blackmon, Jose Iglesias. Lineup's not terrible, not the best, but not terrible. But what's the number right now?
Their number's 70 under.
I mean, I guess I'll have to take the under, but that's because they play in the best division.
Yeah.
So
Oh no, second best division.
second best,
I think the AL East has 4 elite teams.
yeah, okay, I could see that over to you, but yeah, this division's bad, good enough to beat up on the Rockies. So I'll take the under. Barely. I don't think they're going to be as bad as people think they are, but they're going to be pretty disappointing. And people will probably be mad if they gave away Arenado to still just go and get Chris Bryant. No one knows what
A
they're
lesser
doing.
player.
So I mean,
it's unreal.
Time to move on to the actual good teams. So who do you think is the third worst since you're going up?
We're going to talk about the San Diego Padres. Obviously, the Tatis injury does a lot for them. If you're making millions of dollars on sports, don't drive motorcycles. It's that simple. That simple. But I mean, I think they're eventually going to trade Eric Hosmer. I think that's going to be one of their moves because I think they want to see what Luke Voigt can do. Trading for him. I don't know. It just seemed always off with Eric Hosmer in San Diego. I don't know what it's been. But yeah, I think with the Tatis injury, the over-under is set at 86.5. I'm going to go under. I'm going to go under that. I think they're like right around a 500 team in my mind. Yeah, I think Machado will have a great year. I mean, I think he's one of the more underrated third basemen in the league. I think people just hate him because he's a dirty player, which he is. But him colliding into the first baseman on his infield pop-up was insane. But yeah, I think that addition of the DH helps them a lot too, because then you're able to get Hosmer if he's healthy and everything. I
Luke
think you can get him. Yeah, like Luke Voigt's playing first base. He's been playing first base this first series, but yeah, dude, I just think Tatis is just their fire. They're like their centerpiece, and with him gone for what was it, like 3 months? He was gone. Like he won't be back till like June.
Yeah,
Like
and they were bad last year when he missed some time too. So
yeah, so if
you
they
already
can
know.
float at 500 or just above 500, they can get into it. But I'm scared the Dodgers and the Giants are gonna just pounce and be way ahead by the time he gets back.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Padres roster better than I do than the Giants. I think the Giants probably come back down to earth this year. I'm not gonna
The
say
Giants are the Rays of the National League. Like it doesn't
they know
make
what they're
sense.
doing, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
This Padres pitching is really good. This is good pitching. Musgrove, Darvish, Snell, all guys who
Clevenger.
didn't play their greatest last year, but definitely could be Cy Young candidates. And if they could get their pitching right, what's the number that they've got?
86.5.
I'm gonna take the over. I'm gonna take the over. I'm gonna take the over. And hope that the pitching gets him through until Tatis gets back. That's the only hope, really. And like you said, Manny Machado is a good enough spark plug to be the best player on a team that's winning. In my
Yeah.
opinion, you've seen him on lots of good teams. The lineup's not amazing. Luke Voigt is a sneaky guy. He could be a top 10 player at his position production wise
Oh yeah.
if he's right. And probably not playing it, probably getting a chance to be in the NL will change the scenery, will help him out a lot. Eric Hosmer, who was the first piece of their rebuild, it's interesting to see what they do with him. I don't know what his value is. I don't know. I think he's like 3-4 years left on his contract. I
Yeah.
don't know if
Something like
people
that.
be. I don't think people will be dying to trade for him. Really, actually, I think he's probably stuck. But let's move on to the talk to me about the Giants, because since you feel like that you feel so strongly in them.
I mean, I think like one of the main driving forces is the Tatis injury. Him missing 3 months, I think, is big. Um, but the Giants, I mean, they play great baseball. One, it's an even year. It's an even year, so they're gonna have a shot. It's insane. But like Brandon Crawford is still up the middle as the leader in this team. The loss of Buster Posey, I think they'll definitely feel that this year. But I like Yastrzemski, I like Flores, I like Ruff, I like Slater a lot. And they also signed Rondon from the White Sox, and I think they lost Griezmann. I think he went to the Blue Jays, but I think Rondon is a better. I think he'll be a better long term than Griezmann. But their over under is set at 86, and I will
You see, that's
go.
that's pretty low.
Yeah, I'll go over from a team that won 107 games last year.
I mean, I still don't know how they won all those games last year. The pitching is good, not great. The lineup is good, not great. I like Jock Peterson, the addition of Jock Peterson. That's a veteran presence that knows how to. That's won a lot of places. So like that's the type of piece that you add when you're trying to win. Evan Longoria is still going. I like Wilmer Flores. I think he's a guy that could probably break out, a guy that can have a breakout type season. Brandon Belt and Brandon Crawford, they're still doing it. They got a lot of guys who are still doing it in the infield. And so, I mean, I don't know how long you could bank on those guys to just keep doing it because they're all getting up there. How do you feel about this pitching? I mean, I just don't know how to rate this pitching because I feel like it's what cost them in the end last year.
Yeah. I mean, I said, I really like Rendon. I mean, his pickup. They also have Logan Webb, who had a breakout year last year. And what's more important for me, he did it in the playoffs as well. It's not like he fizzed out, tired. So I really like that. They also have Alex Cobb, who is one of those Rays pitchers. And if you succeeded with the Rays, I trust you anywhere. I also like this bullpen a lot. Garcia, Little, Leone. I think they have enough pieces in that bullpen to be good as well. Who was the other guy? Matthew Boyd is also over there. I think he will do well as too. But yeah, I think with Webb and Rendon, I think that is a 1-2. It's not probably the most elite 1-2, but that's definitely a 1-2 that you can go into a playoff series and be confident in your first two, the games 1 and 2, and 5 and 6.
I'll take the under. I don't think they'll be world beaters this year, but I still think they'll be a good team. I just think that San Diego didn't put together this great team to not get over the hump yet. I just like San Diego's talent a little bit more. Giants do have they're a really good defensive team. They do all the sound things, running bases, don't make not many errors. They do all the nice sound things. Like you said, Tampa Bay Rays, they don't beat themselves. So that's half the battle. So maybe I'm sleeping on them, but I also think the team ahead of them got better this year too. So when we move on to them, we'll talk about them.
Yeah. So what are you taking over under for them?
I took the over for San Diego, but I took the under for
the Giants.
Okay.
Well, let's get to those bad boys in LA. I don't know how they do it. I don't know. They don't care about the luxury tax. They do not care. They signed Freddie Freeman. They trade for Craig Kimbrell. And the trade for Craig Kimbrell just shows the depth that they have. They literally traded one of their bench pieces for a top tier closer after they lost Kenley Jansen. But with as good as they are, the mark of 97.5, I got to go under. I can't. I just can't say they will win 98 games.
You're tripping. This is the best team in the league. This is the best roster. I'm not best team. I'm saying the best roster. Tampa Bay and San Francisco might have the best teams, but this is the best roster. Top to bottom, I don't think I've seen a batting lineup more complete than this. They've got power, they've got contact, they've got lefties, righties, guys that hit for high
Oh,
averages.
they got
A
it
lot
all. Don't get it twisted. They got it all. Don't don't get it twisted. Like they have an MVP hitting 8th. Like they have 4 MVPs on their team.
Even crazier is that everybody on their team has won championships with them or with other teams. Trey Turner is, I think Trey Turner could have a breakout MVP caliber season if he stays healthy. Being in LA, people will see him more. That's a guy that has lots of raw talent that still has room to break out some more. So I'm interested to see how he does with a full season there. Chris Taylor's probably the most underrated player of the last 5 years. He's probably the best utility guy we've seen in a while. Bellinger, who came back to life in the postseason, we'll see. He hasn't performed that crazily in the regular season. Mookie Betts is Mookie Betts.
Yeah, they're pitching. It's not like it's all a lineup thing. Like they're pitching. Like Walker Buehler is a top 5 pitcher. Urias is still only like 23, and he's been in the league for like 3 years now. Like he won 20 games last year. Like just there's no weakness on this team.
Yeah, you're tripping for that. You're taking the under.
I can't, dude. I can't.
This team wins. This team's going to win 100 games easily, barring bad injuries. They're going to need bad injuries. Like even if they lost like a Justin Turner and a Mookie Betts for a couple of weeks or a couple stints, they'll still have one of the better lineups. I just can't see this team being too bad.
I mean, when you have 2 of the top 5 first basemen in MLB with Freddie Freeman and Max Muncy, you're deep. You are deep. But I mean, yeah, with your first 5 hitters going Betts, Freeman, Turner, Muncy, Turner, that is insane. That's insane. I mean, that's probably the 1 through 6 or 5 that I was talking about with the Phillies, that like those 2 teams, like 1 through 6, are probably one of the deeper 1 through 6s in the league.
Yeah. Is this the clear division winner?
Yeah. Yeah.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I guess that's all we really got to say about that. I think that wraps up all that for the NL. That's our last division for the NL. So
yeah, so
time to go to this AL.
Yeah, let's start in our division, Isaiah. Let's start in the AL East. Excuse me. I think the best division in baseball, with the worst team in baseball in it as well. We're going to start with the Orioles. This is a team that is waiting for the future. They have some good prospects that will probably be called up this year. Adley Rutschman will probably make his debut this year. I think he'll be like one of the bright spots for this team this year. But other than that, man, I think they're just going to get beat up in this division. You play the Yankees, Rays, Blue Jays, Red Sox consistently. So it is going to be a rough year for them. I think 61.5 is the over-under. And I'm probably it's so low, but I'm still taking the under. I'm taking the under just because like all these other teams are going to be at 85 plus wins, and they're all going to get it from the same place.
Any young players to watch out. I'm taking the under as well because the team's pretty bad. I think they have a nice future. They got some pieces. Yeah, the kid they got in the outfield,
Cedric Mullins.
Mullins. Yeah, he looks like a player. They've got guys in their farm system that they say that they're looking forward to. But like you said, this is probably the best division. They're probably easily every team will be above 500 other than the Orioles. So they got to beat them. They got to get those wins from somewhere. They got to play those teams, unfortunately. I guess this is the interesting part. So who will you say is the team that's going to be on the danger of missing out?
I'm going to go Boston Red Sox 4th here. This is not petty. I swear this is not petty. But But yeah, I just think these other three teams made more improvements this year in the offseason. I think Trevor Story was kind of a wasted, like, big contract for them. I don't think second base is what they needed. I think they needed to bolster the starting pitching more because they lost Rodriguez. He went to Detroit, so that loses a lefty arm out of the starting rotation for them. So they're going to have a lot of prove it guys in their starting rotation behind Nathan Eovaldi. So yeah, I'm going to go Red Sox. Their over under is 86. I'm going to go over. I'm going to go no, I lied. I'm going to go under. I'm going to go under because you just can't pick all four of these teams to go over. You can't because the top two teams in my mind, I think, are going to be the best in this league that I think will push the 92 to 95 range.
All right. I mean, I'm going to go over.
Okay.
Because I think every team in this division is going to be above 500. And you said, what is it at 86?
86. So that's 4 games over 500.
I think they got better. So I got to say at worst they kept pace. They got a great lineup. Probably one of those lineups where you say the 1 through 6 is undeniable. Yeah, I'll agree. Unfortunately we've seen it this weekend, so I've seen it look really good. So it might be some recency bias, but I believe in the lineup. Trevor Story is actually. I think they brought him in just to help with contract talks with Bogarts, and I know that Devers. I
think they brought him in to replace Bogarts because I think Bogarts is leaving, so they signed him as a backup plan.
Yeah, so I mean, I like the signing. I don't know if he fits, how good he fits in the lineup, but he's a good player. So I mean, let's put him in the lineup and let him play. But yeah, I think unless anybody in the division has an over-under of the number 90 or above, I think I'm taking over for every team. I'm not gonna even lie to you. I'm looking at all the lineups, all the pitching. I like all the teams to be above 500 easily.
These next three teams are gonna be tough for your over-under then. So we're gonna go to the Tampa Bay Rays. They do different math.
Dark magic.
Yeah.
Dark magic.
89.5 is the over under for them. I'm gonna take the under. One of these years, it just can't work. It can't work every year, bro. It cannot. So I'm gonna go under 89.5 for them. Bro, but they do some Houdini shit. They do some voodoo magic, something. There's got to be a downside to all of this. And also not having Tyler Glass now for a good chunk of the year, their ace, they'll probably trade away within the next year. I think he has 2 years left on his contract, so he's out of there in the next year, I think. But Wander Franco will be an amazing player to watch. He is outstanding.
And he's not even my favorite young player on their team. I might pick one of his teammates to be the MVP over him. You went under. I'm not gonna bet against it. I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna take the over. I'm looking at the lineup. They have the weakest lineup. They got the weakest pitching on paper. Nothing looks good for the Rays on paper, but they play it better than anybody else.
Their bullpen, it doesn't matter who's in it. It's going to be elite. It doesn't matter. They have no names in their bullpen, and they had a top 4 bullpen last year, and they had no known names. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm happy you brought up the Glasnow injury because that could be big. But man, I actually like this rotation. Jim Manchu, Randy Arozarena, who I think that's the guy I'm going to highlight for a big breakout season, jumping into that upper echelon tier. The deal they got Wander Franco on, he's happy. He's paid. I'm surprised they paid somebody. He's one of the guys they paid, so I'm sure he'll continue to be productive because they wouldn't pay a guy and then all of a sudden he falls off. That's none of their history says that they would do that. Pitching is Corey Kluber as their as filling in for them early. I'm interested to see. He actually looked good when healthy, but Corey Kluber hasn't been consistently healthy in years. So, but I'm sure when he gets down to Tampa Bay, they'll give him the health serum that'll keep him up and going. But I'll take the over. I think they're my third place team. I'm going to tell you that. I think they're the third place team because I do
Yeah.
agree with you about saying the Red Sox are behind them, but I think they know how to get it done. So, I mean, now we understand. Now we're going to see how big the fandom is because when you bring up who you think is second.
We're going to talk about the New York Yankees. We're gonna talk about the New York Yankees.
All right, then we're good. We're in lockstep. I think we're actually
Yeah.
in perfect lockstep.
Yeah. So I hate betting with the Yankees because Vegas be knowing that people bet on the Yankees. Their over under is 92. I mean, I think they'll have a great year. I think a full healthy Rizzo year is going to really help that lineup as a lefty bat. In Yankee Stadium, that's huge. The one question mark that I will have is how they use DJ LeMahieu. I would start him at second base every day over Glaber personally. First, they need to see how good IKF is at shortstop. He's booted a couple balls already this year in the first 2.5 games that they've played so far while we're recording this. And he's supposed to be a really good glove, but abysmal at the plate.
New York pressure.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. The Josh Donaldson edition, I actually really like because I think they need someone to light a fire in this lineup because everyone in this lineup is just like trying to take the Derek Jeter mold of like be cool, calm. I think they need someone to get fired up, and I love that they brought in Garrett Cole's arch nemesis from last year. I love it because Garrett Cole's gonna get over it. He gets everything he wants anyway. So one little so thing, because I think Donaldson, by all defensive metrics, are as good, if not better, than Gio Urshela. And I think he's a proven better offensive player than Gio Urshela. So long, Gary Sanchez. I'm glad you're gone, to be honest. I couldn't stand your defense. I will take Higgy and the catcher by committee any day of the week. I know you're one of the rare offensive hitting catchers. There's not too many of them in the league, but there's enough offense on this team to where there needs to be one or two spots. Now, I wish one of them wasn't shortstop, but you need to have one or two spots that defense is their focus. So if you're doing a catcher by committee, that's fine. Plenty of teams do that. But 92, yeah, I'm going under. I think they're an 89 to 91 win team this year. God, when we talk about the Blue Jays, you're going to know why.
It's all good because I'm pegged them at 90. So when you said 92 and a half, I was like, yeah, under, barely. I just think the pitching is still a question mark. I actually like the lineup more than I've had in previous years. Rizzo being a lefty. DJ LeMahieu has to bounce back, but man, that guy's a contact hitter. He might have been hurt last year. Let's just get it. He'll be good. Gleyber Torres is probably getting traded before the trade deadline. IKF is question mark. Aaron Judge is playing for a contract. Giancarlo Stanton looks like he's got in groove with the New York thing. And Hicks is back. Hicks is actually underrated on defense. So I think their lineup is fine. I think their defense will be better. I think they got the speed and the defensive adjustments that they needed to add. So I think they did that, but the pitching is just so question markish.
Yeah, Luis Severino is the biggest. If he can be healthy and be 2017, 2018, Luis Severino, I think that changes everything. If I know I was getting that, if I know I'm getting that from Luis Severino, I would be debating going over. But I don't know. I mean, Jordan Montgomery's an all right number 3. I hope they give Clark Schmidt some chances to start games because I think he could be really good as well. But their bullpen is always dominant. It's been dominant for years. I mean, they're getting older, which is kind of nerve-wracking. Like Aroldis Chapman, Chad Green, they're all getting a little bit older. Zach Britton's supposed to be back at some point. I forget when that's supposed to be, but their bullpen's still good. I think it'll be good, not elite for like the next like 2 years. I think you can get away with this bullpen for that long. But yeah,
But yeah,
I just think I think they're a playoff team. I hope, and this year I hope Garrett Cole makes his money's worth in the wild card game. Hopefully he's not hurt. But yeah, if any indication, these past 2 games they've given up 2 runs in the first inning, all 3 games. That's not a good sign. But yeah, I'm taking the Yankees under. I think they make a wild card, but
the pitching just it's such a big question mark.
Yeah. So let's move on to the Blue Jays, man. Their over under is 91. This lineup is scary, man. Scary with Bo Bichette, Vlad, Matt Chapman. I don't know how George Springer can be slept on, but he is in this lineup. I mean, it is ridiculous, their lineup.
Yeah, I think it's the best lineup in the division. It's the most cohesive. It's the youngest. It's not proven, so it's not guaranteed. But I like the potential of Vlad Guerrero. He's a guy that could pop up and be the best player in the league, best bat probably if he has the type of development that he can have. Like you said, people sleep on George Springer. I think he's the veteran leader presence that they want him to be. He's won the World Series before, so hopefully he could lead these guys. Who do you like? What do you like in their interior infield? What do you think about their interior infield?
Biggio and Bo Bichette?
Yeah.
Well, I think Bo Bichette is the top young shortstop in the league that hasn't gotten his second contract yet. I think he's in the ballpark of Tatis. I really do. I think he is elite at what he does. Biggio, I think he's more of a defensive guy, but so is his dad. I mean, his dad still hit 3,000 hits, but his dad prided himself on his defense. I see a lot of his dad in him. But yeah, dude, and Matt Chapman is a Gold Glove third baseman. He's one of those guys that the A's can't afford, so you have to trade him. And he's one of the best third basemen in the league. I think he's a top 4 to 5 third baseman in the league. This lineup is just gross, man. I mean, they have a serious opportunity to break the single season home run record for a team.
Now, I will say they lost a couple of pitchers in free agency.
Yeah.
So their pitching is meh. I think the pitching is just meh, which is probably the thing that could hold them back. So what's their official number?
91. I mean, they have Luis Barrios, who is good. Young guy. He got roughed up his first time. They got Kevin Gossman from who had a big year with the Giants that they signed. So I think their 1-2 is good. But I mean, you just go down. They have also Ryu, who will be a solid number 3, I think, as well. But yeah, they have the top 3, but the 4 and 5 are question marks.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so we're both going with the same winner for this division, as much as it hurts.
Yeah. I'll be rooting for the Yankees to win it, but for right now, the Blue Jays gotta be. I don't know how all these books have the Yankees as the favorite, but it's probably because they get bet a lot. Yeah, they get bet a lot.
So yeah, I agree with you. I think the Toronto Blue Jays have a chance to be a special team. They're young. They might be a year early, but this could be that first year that Houston, the year before the Yankees played Houston in the ALCS, that type of year where they just like, yeah, we're gonna be this good. Speaking of Houston, I guess it's just a good way to segue over to the AL West.
We'll go AL West because the AL Central is so bad. We'll wrap it up with them. So let's go AL West. Let's start with the most frustrating team in baseball, the Athletics. It's spent zero money in free agency. Literally, no, I'm not exaggerating. Zero money in the offseason. They're frustrating, man. I mean, what's the point in owning a team if you're not gonna? They never keep their best players. They're all like they've had windows that I don't think they deserve to have. I mean, I think they had Josh Donaldson at the beginning of his career. They had Cespedes at the beginning of their career. Like they've had a lot of guys that have broken out, and they're like, "Oh, good job, you're really good. Here you go, other team. You can have them." So, yeah, their over under is 70.5. I'm going under. They also traded away Sean Manaea to the Padres. Yeah, I'm going under. I'm not excited about this team, and I honestly have nothing else to say about them.
Yeah, this is one of their off years. They're gonna use it to retool. I'm not gonna disrespect them because they're just like the Rays. They get rid of everybody. They don't have as much success, but they know how to replace players. They're always hip to the next big thing. They'll use this year to tank it out. Clearly, as you've seen, they didn't spend any money for a reason. They'll tank it out this year, retool, bring up some young guys, trade a couple more pitchers away to get some more young guys. I want to take the over because they know how to get the most out of anything. And I still like some of the guys in their infield. They just traded away too much and they're just too young. And you said it's 70.5. I'll take the under.
Yeah. All right, so let's keep it going. This might surprise you. I'm going from bottom to top. We're going to talk next about the Texas Rangers, who had a big free agency spend, bringing in Marcus Semien and Corey Seager to have their middle of the infield. I don't know, man. I just don't know what it is because I'm high. My division winner is going to surprise you in this division. It's going to surprise you. But
that means we might have the same. We might have the same division winner. We might have the same division winner.
But yeah, man. I mean, I just don't think they have enough. I agree with. I love the moves to bring in those two guys, but there's still so many holes in that team that I just don't really believe in them for this year.
What's their number?
Their number is. Are they really this high up? No shot.
Because I think in the end,
73.
Ooh, 73. I think the question is going to be, do you like the proven commodities that the Rangers brought in? Because I still think they have no pitching over the young guys of the Seattle Mariners. Because they're really young. They have talent, but they're still young, and they also lack some pitching. I tend to like the veteran players a little bit more, but I do think those are the two teams that are fighting for the second tier in this division. I'm going to take the over because I think the Rangers, they rebuilt the whole inside of their infield. They got two top 5 players of their position on their squad. It's not enough because I think it's still really young around and really bare around them. The pitching is bad. I think the pitching is bad, which will make for a long season. But I think this team can get to 80 wins. I think this can be an 80-win team. You spend all that money, you better get to 80 wins.
Yeah, you better. You spent like $400 million. Like, and yeah, Marcus Semien had like one of the greatest second base seasons of all time last year. So, yeah, I'm going to have them finishing 4th.
Okay. So talk to me about these young guys on Seattle, because apparently you're a little higher on where they could be, clearly.
Oh, if we're going my order, we're talking about the Los Angeles Angels.
Oh, you're going with the Angels next.
How can you believe in this team? I know they have the two favorites to win AL MVP, and they haven't been in the playoffs in years. It's how Mike Trout is staying in LA and just chilling, happy, collecting the bag. Shit, I would too, living in LA, but like how you're not more upset. I mean, their offense has never been the problem. Are you banking on Noah Syndergaard coming back and be like holding that rotation down?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, how can you believe in this team? I mean, they'll be fun to watch on a nightly basis, but Like at the end of the year, you're going to be like, how did this team win 79 to 82 wins? I think I would love, I would do anything to get Mike Trout in the playoffs, but it's just not, I just don't think it's going to happen. What's it?
You make
Their number's
you
84
make.
and a half.
I have a bold prediction that I think is going to blow your socks off, but I think the Angels are going to win a division this year. I have them as a division winner.
You're
I
nuts.
don't. It sounds crazy, but the pitching is questionable. But one of the best players on their team is their ace. He looked good on the first game we saw. They weren't that bad last year, and they didn't have Mike Trout at all. If Mike Trout is this MVP caliber players that they say he can be, if him and Shohei Ohtani stay healthy, and I think Anthony Rendon can be a player that could be MVP caliber. They got one of the better. They have one of the better lineups in the league.
They've been having one of the better lineups in the league.
This year's different. I think if they keep everybody healthy, and the money is going to be on Noah Syndergaard, I'm higher on the Angels. I think they have the players, the star talent to do it. And I like Tyler Wade at second base. I wouldn't be surprised if he is the perfect glue guy. I like Matt Duffy. They got so many. They have so much talent on this team. I think the Astros have lost enough that this is open. This is the door opening for the Angels to win this division. You have them at third place, so you make me nervous because that means you're really high on these Seattle guys. Well, I've heard a lot of people saying that these Seattle guys could be a core that is to be reckoned with, but I just think that the Angels. I'm taking the over. I think this is the year that they change the narrative. I might be regretted it later, but I think this is the year.
Yeah, I mean, 84 and a half. That's like right where I have them. I'll take the over for them, but like 85, 86. Like it ain't gonna be like, wow, they have 84 wins in August. Like it ain't gonna be that. All right, so let's move on. We're gonna talk about the Houston Astros. Lost Carlos Correa. And I'm just gonna say this: like half their roster is pitchers. They have so many more pitchers than anyone else. Like you look up and it's like their list of pitchers is longer than anyone else's. It's insane. Justin Verlander is back this year. 804 product, love you, brother. But I think he benefited from sticky stuff a lot. He didn't play at all last year, so he didn't get into any of that.
No one's out of sight, out of mind. No one even thought about, hey, but what if he was being affected by this? Because when he got to Houston,
he was insane.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he'll take a dip. I mean, really, they have their Altuve and Bregman still, so that's enough in your infield to win games, I believe. And their outfield is, I think, really good too. Kyle Tucker, Chas McCormick, Michael Brantley. I think this roster is still really good. I wonder if they'll try Bregman out at shortstop. I mean, he played shortstop in college at LSU, so I'll be interested to see if they try him out there. But yeah, I think the Astros are still experienced enough I think this division is going to be a dogfight between the top two teams. I hope the Angels can bring it into a 3-man race, but this team is still good enough to put up runs. Their bullpen, it's not great, but it can definitely get the job done. They still have Presley, but the starting rotation, I mean, you'll have Verlander, and then you'll have Lance McCullers. Those are your two guys that you're really hoping to ride.
Yeah, I think that's the major point. I think they're taking a step back because I also have them in second place. I think the pitching is terrible. I think Verlander coming off the Tommy John and the new rules for the sticky substance stuff is going to be interesting to see. I don't think they have an ace. And they used to coming off of just a couple years ago when they had 2 aces. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. The lineup is still sneaky strong. It's still probably a top 10 lineup in the league. Kyle Tucker could easily make another jump and become an MVP caliber player. I think he's the best young piece they have on the whole roster. People like Alvarez. I think he's a little bit more feast or famine, but he's still really good. I think Bregman and Altuve have never reached the peaks that they've reached when they were, probably cheating, but still decent players, still great players, still all-star caliber players. Yui Gurriel is a little older. He looks like he's ageless, really. And Michael Brantley, I guess you could say the same about him. He's pretty solid in left field. But I just think that the pitching is not up to par. I think they'll be in lots of battles where they have to score lots of runs. And I think the loss of Correa, Springer, now they're starting to lose guys every year. I think their peak is they've left their peak. I don't think this is a World Series caliber team, but they could possibly still make a World Series run, in my opinion.
Yep.
What's their number again?
Yeah, this is one of the easier numbers to decide. It's 92, so I'm going under 92.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think we've seen the peak of the Astros. They got their championship. Guys are starting to leave, but they still got some young guys that could keep them in their window.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah. So my division
go
winner
go
is
ahead. Go ahead.
the Seattle Mariners, man.
All right, pause. You said I was crazy for picking the A's, but you picked the Mariners, who haven't been to the playoffs longer.
It
That's bold. It's
All right.
bold.
So the thing that gets me for them is their outfield, man. Their outfield, one, trading for Jesse Winker from the Reds, great pickup for them. Mitch Haniger and the bad man that he's gonna be, Julio Rodriguez. This man was born in 2000, damn near 2001, and I think he's going to be the easiest play for Rookie of the Year. I think he is going to explode onto the scene. I mean, he is going to be an elite player for a long time in my eyes. He is explosive. And I mean, you still got young studs. I mean, they extended JP Crawford. So that there's another piece for the future for the Seattle Mariners. They traded for Adam Frazier from the Padres, who was an all-star last year. So your up the middle is set. Dylan Moore, Suarez, Toro, other great guys to complement them around the infield. Pitching is probably where it's going to be a question mark. They signed Robbie Ray, Cy Young, who I think was a great pickup. They needed to pick up a starting pitcher in this offseason. They have Sheffield, who they traded, who was in that Paxton Lynch trade from the Mariners and Yankees, who, I mean, he's still a little bit younger. I think he's 24, 25 now, but he had a lot of promise coming up. But yeah, dude, I think they're just going to be able to hit the shit out of the ball.
I've heard a lot of people hyping up how good this young core can be.
Oh,
none
dude,
of them saying
amazing.
None of them saying that they're gonna just come up and take the division. So if they did that, I'd be pretty impressive. And so they're all the guys are they're well acclaimed. People are high on them. Wow, to say if you hit this one, hey, bruh. What's their number?
Their number is 85.5.
I still gotta take the under. I think this is a 500 team. I think it's a 500 team. I still think it's really young. I'm gonna have to see it. I'm gonna have to see it. I'll have to see it. I think I like the Angels more. They're a little bit more veteran. I mean, even though they haven't been to the playoffs a lot either, they got some veterans that have been there, done that. And I'm gonna take the top echelon star players. We know that Shohei and Mike Trout are who they are. These guys we're still waiting to see bust onto the scene and be top 10 no doubters. So I mean, I think it's bold. I like it. I like the boldness. I see the talent. I hear people talking about how good the talent is, but I just think that like the Padres 2 years ago, they might be a few pieces away, mainly in that pitching staff. But if you do get that, that'd be dope. So you're going with the Mariners for your division winner.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with the A's.
Easy over.
I'm gonna go with the A's. So if the Astros just run away with it again, I'm sure we'll just forget all about that.
Yeah, we'll
Um,
if the Astros run away with it, we'll just delete this tape. It'll be all right. But yeah, so
okay.
that's the AL West. Let's move on to God, the worst division in baseball. Every year it seems like one team just runs away with it and wins it by July, and then they lose in 4 or 5. They lose in 3 or 4 games in the postseason. It seems to happen every year. We'll start at the top because I think it's so obvious who is going to win this division. We'll start with the Chicago White Sox. Um, they lost a little bit in the rotation with Rondon, but this lineup is disgusting.
Yeah, nothing more to say that this is the best team in this division by far. This. I think highly of this lineup. I think this is a top three lineup in the league. A tier behind the Dodgers, what the Dodgers have because those guys are proven. But man, there's power, there's contact, there's explosiveness in this lineup. Tim Anderson, he's a baller. Jimenez, Harrison, Abreu, just a great lineup all around. Guys that could do it all. Hit for power, hit for contact, spray it all over the field. How you feel about the lineup?
Their lineup is really good, but it's wavered a little bit since they traded Craig Kimbrell, but their bullpen is going to be lights out. And if you have Joe Kelly on your team, you're going to be in the playoffs. I don't think he's missed the playoffs in 5, 6 years. So
Oh, he's the JJ Redick. He just if he's on
yeah,
your team, you're a playoff team.
yeah. So with Joe Kelly, you have Liam Hendricks back there. You're gonna have a really good back end of the bullpen, and you still have Lucas Giolito, Dallas Keuchel, Michael Kopech, I think is how you pronounce it. So they have a good like 1-2 as well. Yasmani Grandal is one of the better catchers in the league. His numbers astound me. How he has such a terrible batting average, but his on base percentage is top tier of the league. It's
He
crazy.
walks a lot still. He still
Yeah,
walks a lot.
yeah. So
Uh,
so he will produce for them as well. But Tim Anderson, Jose Abreu, Josh Harrison, all those guys, they're going to produce. But yeah, I think they'll wrap up this division mid late July.
what's their number?
Their
Because I'll probably
number
hit the over.
their number's 91.5 over. They're going to beat the
Over.
shit out of everyone in this league.
I wouldn't be surprised if they won 100 games. I think they
Yeah.
did 93 last year. Yeah, they could eat. This division might be worse than it was last year, which is saying some craziness if you think about it.
Yeah. All right. So
Uh,
let's go to the team that I think will finish second place, the Minnesota Twins. Um, excuse me. I think that they made some moves. They got some cap relief, trading Josh Donaldson. They still have like an MVP candidate in Byron Buxton, who is an electric player. Um, they added Gary Sanchez and Gio Urshela from that Josh Donaldson trade, which adds some offense to the catcher position, and some youth to the third base because I think Josh Donaldson's a better player now, but Gio Urshela will be a better player for the future. Um, but yeah, I think it really all depends on if Byron Buxton can stay healthy, how far this team can go. He gets hurt a lot. And with Carlos Correa, with probably the most random addition on a team I've seen in a while. Some craziness I've seen is that he switched agents to Scott Boras because if you get a $300 million contract, you want Scott Boras to be your representative. But since he switched agencies in the middle of his free agency, his old agent gets a cut of this contract that he signed. So he has a 3-year deal with a $30+ million per year, but he has an opt out after each year. So if he has a bad year this year, he can come back, has a great year, opt out. Or if he has a good year this year, opt out, go get that bag. So I definitely see him more as a rental. He's definitely not staying there for a long time, really. But the main questions for this team comes to pitching. I mean, Sonny Gray is your ace. I mean, how much you want to bank on Sonny Gray being your ace? and putting out like that. He hasn't since he was in Oakland. So it's going to be interesting for them for sure to see what they get out of this pitching because they'll need all of it. Also, what's his name? Yeah, Miguel Sano will also. I think he'll have another good year as well. I mean, I don't know where he's going to play now because he plays third base. I really don't know where he's going to play now with Gio Urshela. They might try to sneak him over to second base. So you have one of the better hitting infields, but Miguel Sano, Gio Urshela, and Carlos Correa will definitely be an above average infield.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've heard that stories that Correa might be getting traded at the deadline, and that's why they went and got him to get some assets off of that. But that's a weird contract that doesn't scream that he's there for the long haul. So you like Minnesota over Cleveland? Because I feel like I like Cleveland a little bit more than
Yeah.
Minnesota.
I mean, I think Carlos Correa put him over the bump to be higher than Cleveland.
What about their pit? How do you feel about their pitching?
Oh, it's terrible. Oh, it's terrible. Sonny Gray's their ace. That's a problem if Sonny Gray is your ace.
Yeah, so that's what this pitching alone is. This screams that if this goes bad early, this could be a fire sale by 4th of July.
Yeah.
This, what's their number?
Their number is 81.5. So are they going to have a 500 or better?
Oh,
No, man.
I'm gonna go under because I just like you, Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray is their number one pitcher. I don't know what you. I don't know if you're planning to be a winner if Sonny Gray is your number one pitcher. They're trying to get. They got Chris Archer. Like they're trying their best to. They're scraping the barrel to see if they can get some magic out of these guys. Joe Ryan. I just can't. I'm gonna take under. This is not too bad of a team, but I think they'll be under 500.
Yeah. I'm going to take the under as well. But actually, I meant my bad. I have the Twins in third place. The Detroit Tigers are who I have in second place. I really like what they're doing. They signed Javi Baez. They still have the legend Miguel Cabrera, who is not in his best years, but he still can produce. They just called out Spencer Torkelson, who was a top 5 prospect, who I think will do really well for them. They traded for Austin Meadows from the Rays, and I really like that because they needed some outfield help. So yeah, their over under is 79.5, and I'm going to go over on the 79.5 for the Tigers. They had a really good second half to the season last year. They also added Eduardo Rodriguez from the Red Sox, who will fit in nicely with Casey Mize as well, for a pretty good 1-2 punch. And I'm really impressed with how the Tigers are turning it around because it looked like they were going to be a bad team for a very long time.
Yeah, this is the team that I thought that you. This is the team I have for second. I like their interior infield, Baez and Schwab. I can never pronounce his last name.
Schwab.
Yeah, bringing in Edward Rodriguez is that's a good move. They needed some pitching, and like you said, if you check their second half of the year last year, they were actually a playoff caliber team. So I don't know who's their manager right now.
The old Astros. I forget his AJ something.
Paul. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I just can't get his last name out either. I mean, yeah, I think this team has a bright future. I think I'm as high. They have a Seattle Mariners type of future, not probably as high of a ceiling, but
AJ Hinch.
They got some Hinch, yeah. But they got some nice young guys, and they got veteran leaders like Cabrera, Baez, Rodriguez. So they got what you need. They could get some fight. I'll take the over. What's the official number? I want to make sure you said
79.5.
Yeah, I think this will be a 500 team. I think the Twins will be a hair below 500. I think this will be a 500 team at worst.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to the Cleveland Guardians. I think their only noteworthy thing is they actually extended Jose Ramirez, which I was shocked by. I thought they would really be trading him for a while now. I thought he would be traded within the next year or so. But yeah, they're in the boat with like the A's and those other teams that just don't want to pay teams. So uh, I don't think they're as bad as the Royals or the other team we're going to talk in this division, but they produce pitchers. That's what they do. They still have Shane Bieber. Who's the other guy they have? They have Plesac's kid. I forget his first name.
Zach.
Zach Plesac, yeah. So I think that they always produced. Tristan McKenzie is another good guy. I don't know if they'll have him out of the bullpen or starting, but you can always bank on their pitching to be in a very above average team. But this lineup is going to be abysmal other than Jose Ramirez.
Yeah, the lineup's not that great. The pitching's good, but the pitching's really good.
Yeah, they've produced a lot of pitchers.
What's their number? Because I like them to be better than the Twins. I like them more than
76.5.
I'll take the over. Mainly because these teams get to play each other. So I think they'll all be around a hair below 500. They all have mediocre, not average teams. So I mean, they won't be consistent at all. But I think I'll take Ramirez and Bieber and whatever other pitching they got to lead the way. I just think that Cleveland's one of those teams. They do the analytics a little bit better. They usually know what they're doing. So I mean, I'll bank on that. And I still don't know what you could get out of Minnesota. Minnesota's just so inconsistent. The contract that they handed out screams they don't even believe in themselves as much as we might think they do. But yeah, I mean, clearly we're gonna finish out here with the team that is the worst team in this division.
Yeah, they're the worst team for this year, I believe. They have a future. Bobby Witt Jr. is a stud who is going to be a leading candidate for Rookie of the Year for them. He is already producing for them. Whit Merrifield is good. Like they have some guys. Salvador Perez broke the record for catcher home runs last year. I mean, they're very young, and they have Andrew Benintendi, Michael A. Taylor. Like they have a good team. Carlos Santana will probably be at first base for them or DHing. So they definitely they have the talent going forward. But this year I don't think is the year for them.
Yeah, they have young guys, but yeah, I think they're 3 years away from probably competing, in my opinion. They need to get some pitching. Pitching is very, very meh. I'll say Zach Greinke might be a guy that people try to trade for. I don't know what his contract's like. He's always getting traded though, and he's a guy that people seek after for postseason help. So maybe you could get some good young guys back if you trade him. I have seen Bobby Witt making plays, so he looks like he's ready to go. I don't know how much more Salvador Perez has, but he might be a guy that also might be looking into some trades. I don't know much about his contract. Andrew Benintendi, he's a solid player. He's a solid rotation player. He's not a star, but he could be a guy that also might get traded for some young guys. So they have veteran pieces that could be traded for the last crop of young guys. But I just think, like you said, they're a few years away.
Yeah, I mean they have a lot of youth in the back half of their roster with Daniel Lynch and Brady Singer both being first round picks in the same year. I think they can definitely develop into some guys. But they also traded for Amir Garrett, who was probably the Reds' go-to reliever last year. So that definitely helps their roster a lot.
Yeah. Oh my God. But yeah, so guess we'll wrap it up or both take
Yeah, the White Sox are pretty easy.
White Sox. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess that'll do it. I hope everybody enjoys the season. I'm sure it'll be a good one. Luckily, we got baseball back. Thought we almost wasn't going to get it. I'm ready to go. I mean, Yankees already beating up on the Red Sox a couple times, so that's how you know the season's here.
Yes, sir.
All right,
But come back. We'll have the awards and all that stuff in another episode. So stay tuned.